The canal flowed with calm, telling nothing of what it knew, of the rainstorms and high winds, and the droughts of years gone by, of the stench of dead cows and the thunder of purple clouds. Edgar Metahalzo. Rambaran, Puran, Lalabaji, Suraj Bali, and Hari. 5 men who gave their lives fighting for something far beyond fair wages and better living conditions, fighting for their humanity. After slavery officially ended in British Guyana in 1838, the planters introduced a period of contract labor called indentureship. The vast majority of indentured laborers came from India, with an estimated 238,000 of them brought to British Guyana between 1838 and 1917. Indentured laborers faced strict social and industrial control, supported by an unjust legal system, placing them at a great disadvantage. Long after the last Indian indentured immigrants arrived in 1917, this oppressive system remained. This system of oppression was detailed by the report of the West India Royal Commission, popularly called the Moyne Report, which visited Guyana during the period January 27th to February 20th, 1939. The Commission described the terrible conditions under which people in British Guyana lived. It was especially critical of the plight of sugar workers and small farmers, condemning unsafe conditions at workplaces. These were the conditions that Rambaran, Puran, Lalabaji, Suraj Bali, and Hari, and so many others were living in. On April 22, 1948, over 1,000 laborers drawn from plantations Enmore, Nonpareil, Luzignan, Monrepo, La Bonne Intention, Friedslus, and Ogle Estates, backed by the Guyana Industrial Workers Union, went on strike. The Manpower Citizens Association, the official union of the sugar workers, asked them to return to work, promising to negotiate for higher wages with the Sugar Producers Association. However, most sugar workers had lost confidence in the Manpower Citizens Association and demanded that talks be done through the Guyana Industrial Workers Union. The Sugar Producers Association refused. The sugar estates hired temporary laborers called scab workers from as far as Berbice and Essequibo to work the estate and convinced some workers to return to work as well. Despite this, the strike plowed on, and on June 14th, the Manpower Citizens Association met with the Sugar Producers Association. The meeting was unsuccessful on 2 fronts. An agreement could not be reached, and sugar workers did not trust the Manpower Citizens Association to handle their interests. Frustration mounted, and the next day, overseers and sugar workers who had returned to the estate were attacked at Nonpareil by some striking sugar workers. On June 16, a crowd of about 400 workers gathered outside the sugar factory at Enmore for a protest and picketing exercise. Expecting the protest, the management of Enmore Estate had requested assistance from the police. Lance Corporal James and 6 armed policemen were stationed in the factory compound. The crowd had swelled by 10 a.m. to about 500 to 600 persons and was led by a sugar worker carrying a red flag. The crowd attempted to enter the compound but were blocked by the gates and police. Some then hurled objects at the police, with several persons entering the compound through the rear of the factory. A section of the crowd hurled bricks and sticks at the policemen, and several persons managed to enter the compound. The policemen tried to push back the crowd. Failing, they opened fire. 5 workers were killed, and 40 others were injured. Lalabaji Kisun, 30 years old, was shot in the back. 19-year-old Puran was shot in the leg and pelvis. Rambaran died from bullet wounds in his leg. Duki died in the hospital later that day, and Hari died the following day from severe spinal injuries. These men sacrificed their lives to improve job conditions, not only on the sugar estates, but also for all working-class Guyanese. In 1976, these 5 men were honored as the Enmore Martyrs. The Enmore Martyrs Monument is located in the village of Enmore on the east coast of Demerara. Unveiled on June 16, 1977, and standing approximately 7.6 meters high, the monument rests on a raised concrete base. Designed by Guyanese artist and writer Dr. Dennis Williams, the structure is made with white cement and has 5 verticals, each fixed with brass symbols resembling cutlasses and inscribed with the names of the 5 martyrs. There is also a plaque designed by Guyanese artist Mr. Stanley Greaves and cast by the Brass, Aluminum, and Cast Iron Foundry of Guyana. The bravery of the Enmore Martyrs not only represents the fight for working-class rights, but the collective struggle of our ancestors against imperialism and for Guyana's development.